And so now it's with great pleasure that I would like to invite you to witness the practice of two of these great teachers from San Leandro Middle School District, from the district of San Leandro, who are middle school teachers. Alane Castro and Gaia Pine, my colleagues, are going to come. And I would like you to witness their great work and practice in both rehumanizing the classroom and themselves and really modeling collaboration. Enjoy.
Okay, welcome everyone. My name is Alane, and I am a 5th grade teacher at Washington Elementary School in San Leandro. And first of all, I need to say, I feel like I have learned so much already today in the first 15 minutes. And I just feel really honored to be here with you all. So when we were asked to come and talk about what we've been doing, I've been working with the Tari Institute in San Leandro for about 5 years now, and bringing integrated learning through the arts into my classroom. And we were asked to talk about what it means in terms of our transformation as a teacher. And it's not coming up yet. Is that not working? Okay. Okay, so this is what happens all the time with teachers and technology, right? So, with people and technology, and we're all human. So, we're all going to work here together. So we thought about a lot of different things. We thought about, making thinking visible and studio habits of mind and bringing joy and creativity into the classroom and working together with our colleagues. And so a number of different points that we would like to talk about. And the one that I chose is specifically collaboration, because the bringing arts into my classroom and transforming my teaching practice has really transformed. There we go. Yay. Okay, so these are some of the other pieces that we were thinking about, and as you can see, we have the glowing circle there in collaboration. And collaboration for me, and one thing, getting back to our through line about what is something that is, what's so important for education. For me, it's about relationships, and collaboration is those relationships. And so when I think about the relationships that I have in my classroom, I have relationships with my colleagues, with my other peer teachers. I have relationships with the parents in my community and with the students. And new relationships that I've been developing through this work is relationships with the artist community. I am, okay, we can go on. So, collaboration with my colleagues. What is that? How has that changed now that we're doing the integration, the arts integration? One thing for me is that when I'm looking about how I'm delivering curriculum, we're doing a whole lot of different kinds of redesign in terms of our collaboration. The delivery of the curriculum is going to be different, so we need to be looking at it from whole different points of view. And so the activities and the processes and how we're going to be assessing things and what we're going to be looking at for student work, all of that is just so different from what I had been used to doing in the past. And so my conversations with teachers and our collaboration and the relationships with my colleagues has really changed. Both formally, when we do kind of the formal PD things that I do as the leadership in leadership groups, but mostly informally. Even this summer, when I've been meeting just with some of my friends going on hikes, we're talking about integrating the arts. We're talking about, well, what are you going to do in the classroom, and how are you going to work on that specific content area, and sharing ideas with each other. And it's become a real vital part of our communication and of our relationships. Okay, collaborating with the artist community. For me, this was the one that created a whole lot of anxiety because, as I say, I am a content specialist, I'm the teacher, and I know how to deliver the curriculum, and I am just learning how to be able to embrace the statement that I am an artist in my own voice. I I can sing, I can dance, I can do, I can, you know, create art, I can create, I can make. It's been something, it's been anxiety producing, definitely. But it's also really put me in the, you know, in the shoes of my students when they're asked to do things that are out of their comfort zone. And so I can feel that empathy, and it's been a great that's been a great learning experience. One thing, one of those pictures I do want to just mention, Deb Kaufman, that's your stuff, and you're doing one of the workshops a little bit later on. Okay. Collaboration and relationships, how my relationships with parents have changed. This is making thinking visible, making our learning process visible. So so much is going on in the classroom right now in terms of just the whole learning process has really shifted. So parents have become much more involved in the conversation and the dialogue. They've had different ways to come into the classroom. I know that their students are bringing back a lot more excitement and information about what they're learning in the classroom. I had one parent who came in and told them that, you know, because the students have made a model of the digestive tract now, that they can't eat junk food any longer because they know that where the nutrients are absorbed in the small intestine, and now junk food is not. And so those kinds of conversations I know are happening at home. The parents are bringing them into the conversations with me, and also looking for ways of how can they help and be involved in the classroom in a totally different way, because everybody has some expertise to be able to share. And then my collaboration and my relationships with my students has really changed. There's a lot more transparency. I can stand in front of them and say, so I'm envisioning this, how we're going to be looking at plant and animal cells. I've been redesigning this, I've been collaborating, I've been stretching and exploring, and I've been trying this new craft with my colleagues. We're not sure how this is going to work because I've never done it before, but let's all work on this together. And so we can throw out a pile of recycled materials, and students can sit in the middle of the materials, and we can say, well, what looks like you could use for a plant wall, or is it something that what is the relative size and shape of the mitochondria versus the nucleus? And so vocabulary is definitely reinforced, and just the content of vocabulary is reinforced through that. And they're creating, and that's what we want. So when we talk about, right now in San Leandro, we're doing a lot of work with PLCs and collaboration with PLCs, and it's kind of a lot around data and tests and where we're going to do intervention. For me, the integrated learning through the arts is really the place that you can really deepen the learning, deepen that collaboration and relationships in all different areas. And I think that that's where we should be going, and I'm really excited to be here this 3 days. And now for Gaia.
Good morning! It's so good to be here with you. They didn't give me a microphone because I waved my hands a lot. You might get hurt, so they made a different one. All right, so my story from the field, rehumanizing my classroom. I was thinking about it, and I realized, kind of like what Brett said, it had to start with rehumanizing me. About 2 years ago, I was ready to be your poster child for the burnt-out teacher. I was just, do this, do that, do this. Oh, that's such a nice idea, but really we need to take this seriously now, so do this. And I was completely losing my spirit, my passion for what I was doing. And then I was looking at my students and looking for their spirit and passion, and going, huh. And then thinking, what do they do all day? Do this. No, do that. No, not do this. Stop playing. Get serious. And I saw that, and luckily, right before I said, new career, please, my fairy godmother swooped right in on a fat Harley, and she started spreading some magic. And within 2 months, I was in the TARI program in San Leandro that Brett talked about, and I was in the Leslie University program. And then everything started happening, and it was great. So today, as I'm looking at all the bubbles of all the things that Alane and I have learned in this, I decided to choose those two, and I'll tell you some stories from my classroom from the field. making thinking visible. One of the best examples of, backtrack. When I first started teaching, and I was thinking about this rehumanizing community and all this, I thought I had kind of two things that I was doing. I was working with the academics and deepening student thinking and growing ideas and all of that, and I had to build community. So I had to make sure I'm doing those community building activities and kumbaya and kindness and love and all of this. And then I had to make sure that we did some serious academics. What the beautiful thing was is that I discovered that I could do both at the same time. As I was integrating the arts, it was deepening their thinking. It was making them use higher level thinking skills. It was building communication and conversations, and then they were using the academic language. And through that, humanity was restored in the classroom and democracy in the way that we work together. So one example that I really enjoyed where this became apparent, and use my lovely students as an example. I was also teaching about the cell, which I know you all were thrilled about when you were in school. And we're looking at the functions of each organelle. So in the past, we'd go through the functions, and the cell wall protects the cell. So this time I asked the students to reinterpret that through the language of movement. One group did this. And this was their cell wall. It protected the cell. Another group took a different approach and did this. And they were protecting the cell. And what happened was that suddenly, of course, thank you. What happened is now we moved away from a conversation about content lists and went to what does protection mean to us? Went to a conversation between people. What does it mean? Why is it different? There are different kinds of protection. What does it mean to the cell? And we can go there in a human, in a more human way about who we are while we're still doing the academics. Yes. And then the same kind of thing I saw, whether we did visual arts, and they're doing these analogies of the digestive system, or this one they were using ribbons to look at the wavelengths and the different colors and have that different frequencies and making some creative movement with that. And the thing with these is not only did it open the communication away from just abstract concepts into who we are, but it started people talking together with each other. And they had to realize that, wait a second, I don't know this as well as I thought. You know, I could regurgitate what my teacher told me, but once I have to figure out what I'm going to do with this ribbon, or once I have to figure out which analogy I'm going to use, I don't know this as well as I thought. So then they start asking questions, and now they actually care, and now they're talking with each other, and again, it's now a democratic community of learning and thinking and working together, and not just did all of these things that it was before. So as that happens, then we start looking at ownership and empowerment that comes from that. Remember your favorite worksheet from high school? Remember when you went home and you were like, oh my God, I did this worksheet and it was amazing, and maybe you even talked about it years later, right? Okay. So let's really think about it. Here's two examples from the same project. They had to envision some sort of way to represent the fact that we are organisms, which are made of organ systems, made of organs, tissues, cells, organelles, and that's sort of our map for the year, as we're going to zoom into the human body and the plant body. They had to envision some way to do it. So one student once came up with this fabulous idea that I couldn't have thought of: nesting origami boxes. Another student decided to do something else with the box. She was working and just sitting there. She wasn't really producing a whole lot, but had this feeling to just leave her alone. And she's sitting and sitting. After a while, can I have a box this time? Okay, is that going to work? Yeah, sure. And then she started digging in there, and I couldn't see her head. She was in there doing things. And once she asked me about bats, and I was like, we have one computer, go ahead. I don't know what bat organs look like. And so she was researching, she's in there, and she comes to me. You know that look that you get when you turn in a worksheet? No. When you turn and she gave me this box, and it still looked like that. Okay. She said, no, look inside. So I said, well, maybe put a sign. Okay. Then all of us will look inside, and then I looked inside. And it you can't see it so much, but she had done, I couldn't have thought of this. She had done these layers, zooming into the organs and tissues and cells with the bat, and inside this box hanging on strings with this light thing coming in the back. And is that something you'd probably go home and tell your parents about? Yes. I can even see her in a coffee shop 20 years later, something about bats comes out. Oh, guess what? Once, when I was in middle school, I did this box with these bats inside, and there were organs and tissues and cells, and suddenly she remembers a 7th grade lesson 20 years later. So, I just want to leave you one last thought. And this is a lesson gifted to me by the amazing Claire Beauvais, who is teaching a mini workshop later this afternoon. She's with Mills Teacher Scholars. And this is called card castles. And what happens is she took these card catalogs from the, those of us that are old enough to remember the card catalogs. There was a day without computers, people. And then what the students do is there's no tape, there's no glue, there's anything. There's only friction and gravity. And they start building these castles. And they start to build them by themselves. And then they slowly start creating with the people next to them, connecting them, using ideas that they see from other people, and trying to use that in their castles until we've built a whole village of these card castles. And the whole thing is done in complete silence. So they're having to figure out how to communicate with each other. And the reason I'm sharing this with you, besides that it looks cool, is I was thinking about where we've been. Here we were the teachers. Here were the artists. Here were the administrators. And building our own little castles. And now we're looking to each other and trying to figure out how can we meld those together and how can we work together to create a beautiful castle city and recreate what education is, repurpose the materials that we have, just like we repurpose those. And the last thing was, sometimes when you're working with only gravity and friction, it all falls down. And it doesn't work quite right. And there's a nature artist, sculptor, Zach Pine, no relation. And he says whenever things fall down, he says, great, the opportunity to rebuild. So I thank you, and I look forward to a wonderful opportunity to rebuild with all of you.